Sonia. Hey, congratulations on your new book. What if it were easy?
Yes, thank you so much. I now understand why people say it's like having a baby. I think actually having my children might have been easier. Yeah.
Well, we'll start with that easy question because this is a motivational book. So
Mhm.
let's ask that question of what motivated you to write this book?
Well, I had come up with this concept of Moticise, which is what this book is really about, which is in its infancy was motivational exercise. I think now it's becoming more a manifestation through movement concept. So it's really integrating mindset, a whole seven-step process around a goal with movement. And so I've been doing that for several years and having amazing results, and just thought a book would be a really great way to introduce the concept, which is a little different, and get it out to a larger audience.
So tell me more about this motor size concept. So it's both mental and physical.
Yes, it is. And the reason is because when you move, particularly when you get your heart rate elevated, you become a lot of things happen in your brain. We often think of the endorphin high, right? The serotonin, the dopamine, all those good feeling chemicals are released, the adrenaline. But it also, there's something called BDNF that's released, and that's part of what creates neurogenesis, or these new brain cells. And when you connect it to an emotional uh, thought or response, it can start to create new neural pathways. And so you essentially can rewire your brain for whatever it is that you make those repetitive connections with. And movement is one of the things that busts it open. It's why you're more creative, you're more focused. It actually taps the motivation side of your brain. So you're even more motivated. And so it's harnessing this incredible power that happens when you're moving, and then being very intentional and directing your thoughts and your mind towards something that you really want.
So what does this book entail? It's just basically introductions to motorcycles and also certain exercises for both the body and the mind.
So I say the first half of the book is really about Moticise. It goes through each of the seven steps, starting with the what if it were easy. And it shares lots of different stories, client stories, personal stories throughout that first half. It also has a QR code that brings you to a video. So you get the experience. You get to try one movement with one mindset. And then the second half of the book is really what I call activating your superpowers, because there might be certain things that you might also need in order to accomplish a goal. And depending on the goal, depending on where you're at with it, it might vary what that is, whether it's you need to be more daring or more creative or more patient. And so it goes through 12 superpowers that can help assist you in accomplishing whatever your dream is. And I like to look at the second half as a use on an as need basis, because depending on what you need, that's where you can target that. And that also has a QR code that guides you to one movement to embody. I think that's the piece that makes this so different, because often we think of mindset coaching, even therapy, as we're sitting and we're thinking or we're talking. But here we're getting all of that, not just in our minds, but also into our bodies. And that changes your energy, which also changes your frequency.
So what kind of people should be picking up this book? What if it were easy?
I'd say anybody with a goal, anybody with a dream, could really use it. I think anybody who is willing to move, to activate their mindset, and to manifest what it is that they're wanting. And it doesn't have to be hard. People are intimidated by the movement. This isn't, it can be a boot camp, but it doesn't have to be. You can go for a walk. Have you ever gone for a walk and suddenly thought of a good idea? Has that ever happened to you?
I mainly get good ideas anywhere, but yeah, walks is
Well, a walk, or you might be sitting at your desk and you're trying to figure something out, and then you get up and you go do something, and then you figure it out. It's like, that's it. In the shower, when you're, getting ready. But it's that movement that activates it. And so, some of the exercises in there are a little bit more aerobic, but if you want to walk, you can walk. If you want to ride a bike, I do it a lot to spin bike or an elliptical or hike or swim. I have a client who's lost over 300 pounds, and she started to use Moticise in swimming because some of the other stuff was more challenging. Now she can do everything, but that's how she started.
so by picking up this book, it is an easy process to motivate yourself through your 7 steps and program to basically, just immediately motivate you
It,
through.
uh, yeah, it definitely kickstarts it. And I did find, and this was a completely unexpected thing that came out of it, and that was people who don't like to exercise actually like Moticise because you're not thinking about exercise. You're thinking about the prompts, the questions around something that you're really wanting. And so people often say to me, I can't, that just went so fast. I can't even believe it. Or I came up with all these great ideas, or I'm feeling so good. And so it really is a do what's right for your body, but allow yourself to really take this time to focus on what it is that you're wanting. And the order of the steps matter. And so just learning the process, and that's a process you can use anywhere, anytime, on any goal.
So when all this Motorsize basically sparked for you, could you
Yeah.
tell us a bit about what started all of this on your journey?
So I started motorcising way before I ever dreamed I was going to turn it into something. Back, I was acting. That was my other career and still sometimes career. And I had just come off of Guiding Light. And I decided if there was ever a time to leave and try to play a different role, that was it. Only this time, I suddenly started to have like classic imposter syndrome. I believed I was never going to work again, that was just a fluke. Everybody would figure out that I really couldn't act, and I had this great job. 6,000 actors had auditioned for the role of Lucy on Guiding Light, and here I was walking away. And I really got in my head about it. And I started to embody that as well. And so it started to impact every part of my life. And I started to hang out with people who also felt they were never going to work. I started to think those thoughts. I started to, even when I would go in for auditions, I would just walk in as if I wasn't going to get the role. And sure enough, a year and a half later, I hadn't worked a single day. And so I was turtle sitting, very glamorous, for a friend of mine. And they lived up on this bluff, and I was overlooking the ocean. And I was staring out thinking, wow, I've created this life that I don't want. And in that moment, I had this aha of, wow, I've used the same mindset tools that I originally used to create success that I was now using to create failure. When I first got to LA, I envisioned being on TV, and I would ask questions like, what can I do? Who can I reach out to? What's one thing I can do to make a major difference today? Now I was asking, you know, why won't anyone hire me? Why can't I get work? And my mind, the affirmations or the self-talk originally was somebody's made it, why can't I? And now it was I'm never going to work again, shouldn't have left. And so all of that was impacting me. I was still taking action, but the mindset had a direct correlation with the results I was getting. And so as I was sitting there, I thought, well, if I've created this, maybe I can turn it around too. If I can, I better do it fast. And so I started to run, and I thought, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to, really start doing everything I did before when I was creating success instead of this other stuff that was not creating success. And so I decided I was going to run, and I lived in Santa Monica, and it was actually Will Rogers State Park. There's this trail that goes up, and at the top there was a bridge. And so I would run and I would visualize being back on TV. I would do affirmations. I would ask really great questions. I would imagine taking the action. And when I got to the top of the trail on this bridge, I realized that whatever I yelled out would echo back. So I would yell out, "You got the job." And it would echo back, "You got the job." And then I would celebrate as if I had really gotten the job. And 3 weeks later, I ended up booking a national commercial. And 3 months later, in fact, running down that trail, I got a call from my manager saying, "You got the job." And that was to play Psycho Nurse Barbara on One Life to Live. So that was the time when I really started to, that was the first time I ever really used Moticise, because I was moving as I was doing all of this. Flash forward many years, I had my daughter, and I just had my son, and I was kind of new mom. My husband was working around the clock, and I wasn't doing those mindset tools. But I'd kind of make it to the gym for about 20 minutes. And one day I was on the treadmill watching some bad news, something really depressing. And I was like, gosh, wouldn't it be great if I had a vision board, or I could do the mindset tools? It would just be very efficient and effective. And as a new mom, you're always looking for new ways to hack this the efficiency model. And so that was really the day, as I was running on a treadmill, no mistake, that I kind of had this other idea of, what if I did it? What if I just started to ask questions? Or, what if I combined it? And I started to imagine what that could look like. And then I stuck that in a drawer, and it was a couple months later, and I was mentioning it to my assistant because I was working on something else. And she was like, "Wait a second, that sounds really cool. Maybe we could try to build that into what we were already doing," because I was coaching at the time. And so we started to beta test it, and we started to figure it out and get great results. And hence, Moticise was born.
It it sounds like you have a certain enjoyment of being in this new career of I want to say like a life coach or motivational coach. I mean,
Mhm.
you you it sounds like you touched a lot of people through this journey.
I really do love that. People ask me all the time, "Do you miss acting?" I feel lucky because I still get to do some from time to time. I have two things coming out, but I love, more than anything, that is what wakes me up in the morning. That is what inspires me to see other people and to help them actually achieve their dreams. I believe with every fiber of my being that everybody has a gift. Everybody has something that, when they share it, the world becomes a better place, and they get to touch people. So it all has a ripple effect, a domino effect. And that, to me, is the most exciting thing ever. So yes, I do love it. I think all of the studying of mindset that I did when I got into my acting career to overcome, all the rejection that I got, I'm positive that was all meant for where I am right now.
Now, I don't want to go into specifics of your book because after all, people should pick up your book if they actually want to do something like this. But let's say someone is actually in a funk. What is the easiest process to immediately get out of that and motivate themselves to get out there in the world and also pick up your book?
Yeah. So great question. So I was actually talking about this with a client the other day. I think one of the biggest things is to change. And one of the reasons why I think movement is so powerful, But even if you don't go from 0 to 100, right? Somehow if you're on a couch depressed, getting up and working out seems equally as difficult. So just doing something little, like going for walk around your block or walk into a different room, but something that will change your physical state, because we have almost a recipe for our emotions. When we're depressed or if we're angry or whatever we might feel, we have a physical posture for that. And
Mhm.
when we're feeling confident or happy, you can see it. When you ask somebody, think of a time when things really didn't work out, like everything just sort of collapses, and you're like, okay, now think of something where you achieved something that you're so proud of. Just really go back to that place and imagine it. And they'll all of a sudden just stand up differently. They'll breathe differently. Everything changes. And so, as much as you can shift yourself into that place, and then from that perspective, see, is there one thing that you could do that will move you forward? So I would always say, like, go for a walk and then just think of, what's something that you're really good at or something that you're really proud of? And what did you do to make that happen? And then, people will be like, well, I don't know, I just took a chance, or I tried something, or I got help, or I called. That's when you'll start thinking of those ideas and then take one of those and put it into action. Maybe the first thing is go get the book or go reach out or do a little research or just take one step. And then what's the next best step you can take to move you forward? But I think tapping into either gratitude or pride or something that you really love will help shift your mind. And if you can physically just move out of whatever posture you're in into something else, you will change. I often say to my clients, you feel what you focus on.
Mm.
And so if you're feeling lousy, take a look. What are you focusing on? And what might you be able to shift your focus to? But often we try to figure things out from that really like depressed state, and you're more resourceful. You'll move faster, and you'll find even better ideas if you could just shift that a little bit. So that would be my first piece of advice. And then, the what if it were easy isn't really there to just be easy. It's not like, hey, everything is just easy, easy, easy. It's not this Pollyanna concept. It really is designed to open your heart. Like we often think, especially when we're not feeling well or feeling motivated or everything feels so overwhelming, that everything is hard, right? And we have our laundry list of reasons why we can't do it. But if you allow yourself to just think, well, what if it were easy? And sometimes it takes asking that question twice. No, really, what if it were easy? What would you do? And then people will, if it were easy, I guess I would do this. And then that's probably your answer.
So what's beyond the book after someone actually reads your book here?
So I think it is a very self-guided process. So I think that can help you get there. But I am also a huge believer in finding support, whatever that means, of whether it is a coach or whether it's a group or whether it's a mentor or something else to help you along your process. Um, but that is definitely a great next step is to start the process, and then how can you help keep it going? Because that will ultimately get you to the end.
Well said. And what's up next after this book, Sonia? Or you're just going to promote this book for now in your book tour?
I'm definitely still touring and still kind of loving the process. So that's in for now. I am actually offering a special coaching package that goes along with the book. I am speaking in various places, so definitely check into my social media because I always announce that, or get on my newsletter. I have a regular newsletter where I'll also announce things that I'm doing. And eventually, probably in the fall, I'm looking to do a retreat. So it'll be fun.
That does sound like a lot of fun, and this sounds like a great book to actually have and own and read. And so let's I've taken a lot of your time, so let's wrap this up. Is you tell us how does one get your a copy of your book?
Yes, well, pretty much wherever books are sold, particularly online. Some bookstores are carrying it, but you can definitely get it through Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and some other online outlets as well. So, yes, check that out. What if it were easy? Big bright orange cover. You can't miss it.
Well said. You said it much better than I could ever do, but that's why it was so easy for you to say it.
Yeah.
Sonia, thank you very much for speaking to us about your book. Sorry I missed your book signing just recently in Los Angeles, but there's going to be ample amount of opportunities down the road for a lot of fans who pick up the book now or wanting to know more with you.
Yes.
So thank you very much for this conversation, and hopefully down the road we get to do this again.
I would love that. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.